أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome everyone to today's class. I hope and pray that you are all doing well, inshallah. I hope you had a great half term and that you are ready to come back to the class. So I will quickly remind you again of the etiquettes. Make sure that you are in wudu, that you are wearing your clean clothes, have your heads covered with a topi or scarf. Do please ensure that you are in a quiet place. And if possible, it would be ideal if a parent or someone older was present with you, and ensure that you are using your correct ID. Okay, over here. So alhamdulillah, we started on time. Just before we go into that, let's do our daily prayers, and then I'll explain the schedule for today. So let's have a student with us. Let's have GB 3119. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, very well. Jazakallah for asking. So we'll start with Dawud and Tasmiyah, and then we'll move on to the opening prayer.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Good. Just remember this alif over here. What sign does it have on top of it?
Fatah.
Good. A fatha. How long do you spend on a fatha letter?
No more than one count.
Fantastic. Well done. So when you read it earlier, it was slightly longer. Okay. So just make sure that the alif is only one count. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's move on to Tasmiyah then.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Good. Well done. And then the opening prayer. Would you like me to read it first, or do you want to have a go yourself?
I think I want to have a go myself.
Okay.
Rabbi shrah li sadri.
Okay. Can I pause you there 1 second? So over here, can you see next to the sheen, what letter is this?
Dal.
Okay, it does look like a dal. You're right, it's very similar to a dal, but actually it's not, okay? It's actually a ra, okay? And I know it's curvy and it looks different to the ra at the beginning, which is separate, but because this one is joined to the sheen, that's why it looks like this, and it's just a different type of font. Okay, just how in English we've got different type of fonts, this is a different font and it looks similar to a dal, but it's not. Okay, so I'll read it once, and if you repeat after me, and if everyone at home can also repeat after me, please. Rabbi shrah li sadri.
Rabbi shrah li sadri.
Fantastic. وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي.
وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي.
Good, well done. And can you do the translation for me?
Lord, expand my mind and make my task easy for me.
Fantastic. And the reference?
Surah Taha.
Good.
verse 26 to 27.
Fantastic. Well done, mashallah. Beautifully recited. Jazakallah for your participation. Okay. So now we'll go on to our schedule for today. So we started on time, alhamdulillah. So for the next 10 or so minutes, we will go through our rules for today, and we're actually revising some of the rules that we looked at before the half term. So it's a revision of those rules. And then inshallah at 5:15 we will go into our breakout rooms, and where you will inshallah practice Surah An-Nisa verses 92 to 93. And then at 5:45 we will come back together to conclude our class, the online part of it, and then straight after that we would like you to please do your homework, which I will set at the end of the lesson. Okay, so let's quickly move on to our revision of our rules. So the rules that we will revise are the tashdid rule, the combining rule, and then we will look at the nasalization. Okay, we will remind ourselves what these are and when to apply them and how to apply them. Okay, so first, tashdid. Okay, so tashdid is a symbol which sits on top, and you can see it over here in this circle, and it looks a bit like a W. Okay, like the letter W. And it's also, we can also call it a shadda. Okay, and we write this when we've got a letter that we want to write twice. Okay, so instead of writing the letter twice, we would just write this symbol, this tashdid symbol on top of that letter, and that will tell us that that letter is written twice. Okay, so let's have a look over here. So here I've got a jim with the tashdid symbol on top, as you can see in this purple circle. Okay, now this jim has a tashdid because there are two jims. So instead of writing it out twice, writing the jim twice, we can simply write the tashdid symbol on top, and that's how it appears. Okay. We can also call a letter that carries a tashdid a mushaddad letter. Okay, so this is a mushaddad letter, or I can say this is a jim mushaddad. Okay, a jim mushaddad. Okay. And simply, when you've got a mushaddad letter, okay, so I've got this jim that has a tashdid or a jim mushaddad, okay, what's going to happen is it's going to join the most recent previous, okay, with the mutaharrik letter. So the most recent letter before the jim, which carries a sign. So a fatha kasra dhamma happens to be the sin. It carries a dhamma. That's why this is the mutaharrik letter. So that means I'm going to join this sin and the jim together. Okay, both sounds need to be produced. So I must make the sin sound and the jim sound. Okay, but when I join the sin sound with the jim, I need to press on the jim. Why is that? Because there are two jims. Remember, this tashdid that's on top of the jim means that there's two jims there. So that means that I need to press on the jim sound. Okay, so I would read it as suji. Okay, suji. I press on the jim sound. Okay. So in summary, a mushaddad letter is any letter carrying a tashdid, also known as a shadda, okay? And a mushaddad letter joins to the most recent mutaharrik letter, a letter that carries a sign, okay? And it's easy to it's quite easy to read a mushaddad letter as long as you follow these 5 steps. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is you need to identify your mushaddad letter. So in this case, over here at the bottom, we can see it's the jim. Okay, next step is that we need to identify our voweled letter. Okay, the most recent voweled letter in this case is the sin. Okay, then the next thing is that the mushaddad and the vowel. Now that we've identified the mushaddad letter and the voweled letter, we need to join these two letters, okay? For the time being, we will ignore any other strokes, okay? Just focus on joining the sin and the jim, okay? So next, look at the stroke on the mushaddad letter and make the right sound. So well, the jim has a tashdid, obviously, and it also has a kasra underneath it, okay? So we also need to make that sound, okay? And once I've done that, once I've recognized all of these things, I can simply combine everything and make the whole sound. So the sin, I would say as is. I will join it with the mushaddad letter and then make the sound of the kasra. So suji. Okay, and these are the 5 steps that you can simply follow to read a mushaddad letter or a mushaddad word, okay? And the next rule that we're going to look at is combining, okay? And that's when blank letters come in between mutaharrik and mushaddad letters, okay? In Arabic, we can also call it wasl, okay? It means the same thing in English. So wasl or combining, and it basically means to connect or to link letters, okay? So in the Holy Quran, there are many words that end or start or have blank letters in between, okay? So that means that they are letters, but they don't have any strokes, so they are strokeless. So what do we do in that case? So let's have a look. So over here you can see we've got a word, we've got a mushaddad letter, okay? In between we've got some blank letters, okay? So how would we read this, okay? And we follow the steps, the 5 steps as before. So the first thing that you would do is, again, you identify your mushaddad letter, okay? The mushaddad letter is the letter that carries the tashdid, the shadda, okay? The next thing is that the mutaharrik letter, we need to identify our mutaharrik letter, so the letter that is carrying a stroke, so we must identify that. And then we can join the mushaddad letter to the mutaharrik letter, okay? Now, when you see a mushaddad letter, work your way back till you find the vowel letter, okay? And you join those two. So you join the mutaharrik letter and the mushaddad letter, okay? So you first identify your mushaddad letter and then work your way back, find your vowel letter and join those two together. However, if there are letters in between the mushaddad letter and the mutaharrik letter that are blank, so they don't have any signs, they don't have any fatha, kasra, or dhamma, then we simply ignore those letters, okay? So for example, over here, I've identified my mutaharrik mushaddad letter, which is the sad, okay? Then I work my way backwards. Am I going to join it to these alifs? Well, no, because they don't have any signs. So these are blank letters. So I ignore them. I ignore also the vowel again because it doesn't have any stroke. It's not a mutaharrik letter. Then I look at the letter before that one. It's this lam. Is this a mutaharrik letter? Well, yes, it is because it has a dhamma. So that means I will join the lam with the sad. Okay, and I would read as lusso. Okay, and the whole word I will read as Amilu solihati. Okay, I've simply joined the mushaddad letter with the mutaharrik letter, which is the lam, and it ignored all the letters that were in between that don't have any signs. Okay, and the final rule that we're revising is nasalization. Okay, so nasalization, or in Arabic, ghunna, okay? So sometimes you will see a mim mushaddad, or you will see a noon mushaddad, okay? And basically you treat this exactly as you normally would with the mushaddad letter, but when there is a mim mushaddad or a noon mushaddad, the only difference is that you will make a ghunna sound. That is a nasal sound, okay? So let's have a look. So the difference is that you need to, when you do nasalization, you need to make a sustained nasal sound, okay, for up to 2 seconds or a bit more, okay? It must not be less than 2 seconds, okay? So it has to be longer for up to 2 seconds or a bit more, okay? So we spend time on it. And it only happens on a mim mushaddad, okay? So we've got a mim mushaddad here, or a noon mushaddad. Okay, so ghunna, nasalization only takes place for these 2 letters when they are mushaddad letters, so mim mushaddad or noon mushaddad. Okay, and the the first 3 steps are exactly the same. You identify your mushaddad letter, and then you identify, secondly, the mutaharrik letter, and then you need to join those 2 letters together, okay? And if it's a mim mushaddad or a noon mushaddad, the rule is that you need to do ghunna there, okay? So in this case, because there is a mim mushaddad, I need to do ghunna over here, okay? So I would read it as hamma, okay? I would make the ghunna and I would join whilst joining these 2 words, okay? We will now go into our breakout rooms and practice from our surah. If I can ask the admin team to please open up the breakout rooms.